Powered by Riverside FM.
Tonight, we're looking at haunted houses near you. A place where shadows whisper secrets, and the veil between worlds is thin. Tonight on Newsworthy, 2 words and 2 question marks. You have scoured the podcast world and finally found us, Newsworthy with Steve and Jerry, where we delve into all things mysterious, macabre, or out of this world, and decide if they are truly newsworthy. 2 words and 2 question marks.
Hi, this is Ed Locke with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
Jerry. Guess what?
What's that?
17 days.
17 days until what?
17 days until we are at the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Festival in Logan, Ohio.
Can't wait.
I absolutely can't wait. Just found out tonight there's going to be another podcast there too.
That's right.
We're going to try to reach out to them and see if we can't make some stuff happen. But stoked. I'm excited. We're getting all the plans together and all the things we're going to do. And we got some new bumper stickers coming in if you want one. Probably better on your window more than your bumper. But
The other podcast, Cryptids of the Corn.
Isn't that a neat name?
Yeah, they apparently do only cryptids. Certainly makes sense that they would be at a Bigfoot festival.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to
And
meet them.
they may not actually, they're going to be one of the guest speakers. So I'm not sure that they're actually going to be podcasting from there, but we certainly are.
Yes, we are.
If you listen to our podcast and you have a story to tell but don't want to call in, come see us. We'll have recording equipment there. We're going to be doing on-the-spot interviews
We'll have
for
to get
future
your
shows.
story out.
Absolutely. Stoked by that. Stoked by it. Now, that being said, last couple of weeks anyway, we've had some quality sound issues. Hated it. Seems like we go through this about once every 6 months or so. Something, nothing changes in our studio. So
We have a soundboard that we have figured out has random errors. Apparently, it's like Microsoft 3.1. The old versions of Microsoft Windows. You have to reboot it ever so often.
yeah,
Unfortunately, what we have done up till now is wait until we have problems, figure out there's a problem an episode or 2 later, and do a little research and figure out, hey, all we needed to do was reset the board.
for folks who are able to do podcasting from their phone, I applaud you. I personally don't like that method, but some people do it and are very successful with it. I don't see the path for growth there so much, but hey, whatever floats your boat. However, that being said, I say that because we don't have a producer here. We don't have somebody that's sitting behind the scenes telling us when to do this or when to do that. It's all on us, and
People know that.
Yeah.
It's pretty obvious with us. I think.
we're 2 years into this, so you would think we would be experts by now. We are not.
Not even close.
We're still learning every day, trying to get better.
Absolutely.
Speaking of getting better, sometimes you have to correct people, Jerry.
Is that right?
Yeah, I had to. Man, I almost even hate telling this story. I do.
You had to correct someone?
I did.
Surely not. Surely not.
Well, I wish that were the case.
Sadly, it's not the truth.
Sadly, indeed, that's not the truth. And I have completely lost what I was going at with
When you
that.
find it, I'll tell you my story. Do you know why scuba divers fall backwards out of the boat?
Oh no. Why do scuba divers fall backwards out of the boat?
Because if they fell forwards, they'd still be in the boat.
Wow.
That's right. A whole week, and that's the best I had.
Wow. Well, at least you didn't lose yours. I totally lost mine. I don't know where it went. We'll have to come back to it. I'll work it in. I promise. So anyway, I had great 2 episodes, the previous episodes. I really wish the sound was better, and we may try to do some editing and clear that up some.
Yeah,
But
that's way too much work.
Jerry, he's just
Well,
blunt.
work.
He's like, yeah, screw that. I ain't worried
I
about
have
it.
messed around with Audacity, and I know how to do a little bit, but not very well, and not efficiently at all. I mean, I could easily spend 30, 40 minutes fixing 30 seconds of audio, so yeah. Probably not going to try to fix an hour episode.
Wow. Yeah, I get it. Well, it just goes to show you can plan everything out, and it all fall to hell. I will say,
Plans of mice and men, right?
right, we have an amazing second half of the year planned. I'm excited. It's going to be kicked off in a couple of weeks at the Hocking Hills Bigfoot Fest. We've got great guests lined up throughout the entire rest of the year. October is going to be kind of a musical themed month. Get ready for that. I'm very excited that Jake Hambone Davis is going to be joining us. He is an outstanding young blues music. Say the word.
Musician.
Thank you. I don't know why I have such trouble with words like that. He's going to be joining us in the show. He's got an interesting take on how conspiracy theories and music goes in, and he's going to be preceded by Robin, my other half, will be in, and she's going to talk about how the devil has infiltrated music and on a spiritual side of music, and how that, well, I'm not going to steal their thunder. That's in October. In November, I hope to have everyone who's ever been a guest on the show for a great Thanksgiving episode. We've got a couple of guests that we've got emails out to that we're hoping that respond real soon. Basically, just say all that to let you know that we've got a great second half of the year. I hope to finish really strong. If you listen to us anywhere, please do the like, the follow. Believe it or not, that really... I never understood what that meant when they said, oh, that really helps us out. But it really does. It helps our algorithms. It pulls you to the top of the charts. There's a lot of stuff that help us there. So anyway, the other day, my youngest son got a job finally, which was great. Unfortunately, I went upstairs and I caught him chewing on electrical cords, Jerry.
Really?
Yeah. So I had to ground him. He is doing better currently. Now he's conducting himself properly.
I see. No more electrical
I
puns to
told
do.
you that was a great joke. You didn't even crack a smile. You
That's
suck.
probably the oldest dad joke there is.
What?
Everyone's heard that one 15 times.
I've never heard it before.
Ever?
Ever.
Really?
Ever.
Ever since I remember when we first started doing our podcast and we put dad jokes in here. We even talked at one time about doing an entire podcast of dad jokes. Remember?
I think we should.
I don't.
Why?
I have trouble coming up with a decent one per week.
Oh, no.
Enough to do a
No,
whole
no.
episode.
We have to do a whole episode. In fact, I'm going to put it on the schedule. We want to do a whole, and I may actually wait to our. It's a little early to announce, but we may have someone coming in to join us more regularly again. Thank goodness. When they get back, that would be a great episode. We just go around the table telling dad jokes, and anytime somebody laughs, we get a point. The winner,
I'll win that contest.
and the loser has to buy everybody dinner.
But that's not really fair to you guys. And it's got nothing to do with how good my jokes are, but I have much more dry sense of humor. You're the type that will laugh at anything. You
I will
can't
not.
stop it. Yeah, you're going to, I'm just telling you right now, you'll lose. You just laugh at anything and everything. I've known you since you were 16 years old. That's not changed.
Listen, I will win because I will not drink cold sweet red that night.
Okay. Doesn't take cold sweet red to get you laughing, is my point.
You're right. True fact. So, we've covered all the good stuff that's coming up. We've apologized for being crappy the last two episodes. Hey, we do want people to reach out and tell us what you think about this, how things have gone the last few weeks, because we are on a new publisher.
I don't think most people notice a difference.
You don't think?
No.
Is it just something we notice?
Exactly.
Well, then never mind.
It's a change for us.
Yeah.
But we didn't change the format. We still do everything in the same order. So, yeah, I doubt that the average listener really notices a difference much at all. Except for the last couple of weeks with our horrible audio. They noticed that probably. But
Yeah, your
the
mic
rest
was.
of it, I doubt that.
Jerry's mic wasn't even working.
It
He was-
literally didn't work.
everything was coming off of my mic,
Had
which
to go
was really
across
bad.
the table to Steve's mic, and that was absolutely okay. As I said before, it's not like what I've got to say is that important anyway, so most people were probably applauding.
Well, yes, probably. Only because more so when we were talking politics, to be honest. Speaking of politics, I want to bring this up real quick before we get into the episode. Right, left, I don't care. You know, last week we had an assassination attempt on one of the candidates for president. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that former President Donald Trump was shot. Fortunately, was just grazed his ear. But the reason I bring it up, we're not a news show anymore per se.
No, not at all.
But on Facebook and especially on X and on some of these social media sites, on the far right you have people saying the Biden people did it. On the far left you have people saying that Trump staged the whole thing. And I just want to say, for the love of God, please stop. I mean, I understand that, you know, you're impassioned about your candidate, be it Biden or Trump or whomever. But a man lost his life who was simply there with his family to come to a political rally. You don't stage that, I would hope.
I don't know where you go to hear some of that stuff you heard, but
you don't social media much. I mean, you don't have to go very deep on social media to see this stuff, and that's the truth.
one of the big reasons I
And
stay away from social media.
for the folks out there, do you know who Tenacious D is?
Sure.
Tenacious D is no more because Jack Black's partner made a very sick joke.
And he canceled the show.
And Jack Black said, I'm not into all that. We're done. So
If you can't feel sympathy and empathy when there's an assassination attempt on someone's life, no matter how much you may disagree with them, you're a poor excuse of a human being.
I'd be saying the same thing right now if it's Joe
Well, it
Biden.
doesn't matter who it
You
is.
know,
That's never.
the man's got a family.
Right.
The man's got a family. The man who died had a family. The people that were still in the hospital
The
still
man
have
that was an
families.
ex-fire chief.
Right.
A very upstanding person.
You know, so just stop. Let's just you know, support your candidate, be fine, whatever. But there's no need for all that crap. Okay. Now, Jerry,
Yes. Mr.
tell us,
Stevens.
sir, about the house the devil built.
I can do that. I can tell you what people say about the house that Devil built. The house, also known as the Congolier House, also known as the house the Devil built. And of course, the dogs wait until we get started to let us know that they wish to participate. But the Congolier House in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1129 Ridge Avenue. Some people have had the audacity to call it the house the Devil built, the most haunted house in America. Some places call it. Here's the legend. Supposedly, a man by the name of Charles Congolier had the mansion built in the late 1860s on the north side of Pittsburgh, and he lived in a home with his wife, Lyda, Lyda, however you pronounce that.
Very pretty house, by the way.
The pictures you saw is not of the house. Yeah, that's probably, we'll get to that. Also living in the house was their maid, Essie. He supposedly made his fortune in the South during the Reconstruction period, and he moved to Pittsburgh and built their mansion. And according to the legend, in the winter of 1871, Lyda discovered that her husband was having an affair with Essie. She actually caught them in bed together. She heard the noise. She went to the door. She listened. She went back to the kitchen and retrieved a butcher knife and a meat cleaver. She returned to the room and let them know exactly how unhappy she was about how things had progressed. She let them know that by stabbing her husband to death and decapitating Essie. That's right,
Gosh.
She cut her head off. She was discovered a few days later in her living room, sitting in her rocking chair, rocking back and forth, singing lullabies while gently stroking Essie's severed head. This is according to the legend.
Wow.
At which point, the house sat empty for several years. Can imagine why. Next, a railroad company owned it very briefly. They used it to accommodate some of their employees, some of their workers. They were using it as an apartment building. And around 1900, supposedly, a Dr. Adolf Brunreiter bought the home. He was reportedly a very quiet guy that kept to himself. He was rarely seen or heard from until August 12, 1901, when a family next door heard a terrifying scream and they saw a red explosion-like flash shooting going through the house. When the police entered the house to investigate, they found a decomposed female body strapped to a bed. They found 5 headless other young women in the basement graves, with each of their severed heads hooked up to various pieces of electrical equipment in the lab. Apparently, he had been experimenting with the severed heads, and he'd been trying to keep some of them alive after being decapitated. He, Dr. Brunreiter, disappeared and was never found again. The house was again vacant for a time period. According to legend, the next owner was the Equitable Gas Company, the local natural gas company. They again used it as the railroad company had for employee housing. Supposedly 2 of their workers had unexplained deaths while staying there. Their workers from then on refused to stay there, and that was the end of them using it for employee housing. Legend also has it that a medium named Julie Murray and inventor Thomas Edison were both believed to have visited the home in the early 1920s. Murray was said to have detected a gruesome evil spirit that she believed that had the potential to kill. Einstein supposedly traveled to the house while working on a device that would allow him to communicate with the spirit world. Now, not long after this, on the morning of November 15th, 1927, the Equitable Gas Company, a local gas company.
I'm sorry. This is the irony in this is too good.
Yeah, it is. They had a huge storage tank nearby that exploded. Supposedly it was 5 million cubic feet, one of the largest natural gas storage facilities in the world, and it supposedly just totally destroyed the house. Now, dose of reality. And everything that I read, I saw on numerous pages. They all told the same story, almost exactly. Same name, same date, same time periods. The truth is, almost none of that happened. Almost zero of that happened. Two researchers came along in the 50s, author and folklorist Stephen Hoover and historian Troy Taylor of Prairie Ghost began to do some research, and they found that there was no evidence of anyone named Charles Congolier or Lydia Congolier that lived in Pittsburgh during this time period. There is no police records or newspaper articles or anything talking about any double murder that ever happened anywhere near this residence. There's no evidence that a Dr. Brunreiter even existed. There's no record that the railroad company ever owned this home at any point. The Equitable Gas Company did use several buildings in the area for employee housing. There's no record they ever used this house. There's no record that any of their employees ever died in any of the homes that they were using.
Wow.
The only thing that happened was the explosion did happen nearby. There was a Congolier family living at the home at the time. A young lady named Mary Congolier was not in the home. The home was slightly damaged but was not destroyed. She was very close to the explosion. She was hit by flying glass that severed an artery in her leg, and she did die from her injuries. That is pretty much the only aspect of any of that legend that's true. The entire story made up. All these sites that talk about and call this the house the devil built, the places that refer to this home as America's most haunted house. There's a website that I think you're going to go over a little bit later on, that hauntedplaces.org, that goes state by state and gives a list of the most haunted places in your state. For Pennsylvania, it lists 100. This one doesn't even make the list. They were smart enough and did a little bit of research to figure out this is all made up. None of this happened. Some great stories.
Isn't that crazy?
None of it happened.
Isn't that just crazy how rumors start and they just keep adding and multiplying about the same place? And all of us have that house in your town that was the rumor about.
Yeah, sure.
In Cynthiana, the rumor mill, there used to be a house that had been built up near the high school. That's my hometown. The rumor was that the house had been built exclusively by bricks shipped over from England from a doctor. Well, that didn't stop them one iota from tearing it down and adding on to the vocational school. And it was supposed to be super haunted and blah, 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 blah. But I think every single town in every city in the world has a house like that.
And you're right. And little young kids love to tell those stories.
Yeah. Where was Monticello's?
I don't remember the name of the house. There's a weird couple that lived there, and supposedly the man had killed 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And that type of thing. So even after they died, moved away, whatever, the house was supposedly haunted. And no one ever lived there again, so it became dilapidated.
Right,
and
looked haunted at that point. Yeah,
and little kids would drive
every
on
single
their
city
bicycles doing 120 miles an hour to pass it as quickly as
Yeah.
possible. And as soon as they safely got by, it would stop and tell their friends the horror stories about this ghastly haunted house that they had just passed. But you're right. But normally it stops within the boundaries of that area, right? But somehow the world caught on to this one. And to this day, there's several websites. If you Google the Congolier House, you'll find several places that are talking about what a haunted place it is and the most haunted house, or one of the most haunted houses in America. And it turns out, first of all, it was never a mansion. First of all, there was no house built in the 60s. No house was built there at all until the late 80s, early 90s. It was a common row house, very similar to everything around it.
Isn't that crazy?
The only Congoliers that there's any record that ever lived there was during the 1920s, when the explosion happened and the one occupant, Mary Congolier, passed away. But there's nothing sinister. There's no Dr. Brunreichster that even existed, much less lived there and experimented
This
on
is
people.
why you listen to Newsworthy with 2 words and 2 question marks, right, Jerry?
The real story.
Right? As Paul Harvey would say,
The rest
and that's the rest of the story. So that's just, we have listeners in every single state in the Union, which makes me happy to no end. We also still, even though we've switched several times, we have a huge following in Slovakia. Thank you. We love y'all. We love our Slovakian people. We love all of our people. We have people all around the world. But I'm just going to focus on the U.S., and I'm not going to do every state because that would take us forever, and we don't have forever today. Just not going to do it. But I will cover some of the ones
that are haunted.
Yeah. So I'm actually from Forbes Home. They put out a list of the 50 most haunted places, the number one most haunted house in your state. Now, I say house because they don't count things like in Louisville, Waverly Sanatorium is by far, or what's the blues place? Bobby Mackey's in Kentucky. Those are
Kentucky.
Huge ones, but this is just about houses. And I'm not going to cover every one. Don't have time, but like as an example, in Alabama, in the heart of the Florence, lies the Sweetwater Mansion. Its ghost story surrounds a long-dead Confederate soldier, a former son-in-law of the state, with phantom sightings said to be everywhere, and a woman in dated garb wandering the halls in distant echoes of children's innocent giggles. To me, that would be the creepiest, is the kids. Just, there's no kids, you're there at night, all of a sudden, that would creep me out so bad, dude. In Arizona, and I bring this one up not because I believe that it's stupid haunted, but the house is neat looking. You guys got to look it up. The 1980s transformed the Rawson House into a museum. However, locked doors, mysteriously displaced items, and an inexplicable warmth from the fireplace silently scream of an unseen presence. That fireplace, by the way, hasn't been used in 20 years. Okay. This one is really creepy, and this is in Arkansas. The Bentonville's Peel Mansion. It is proof that spirits yearn for familiar comforts. Visitors say that the ethereal presence of 1875's Congressman Samuel Peel and his daughter Minnie is palpable. It's said that they roam the property, and Minnie occasionally playing nocturnal piano melodies.
All right.
So, guilty admission. We have cleaners that come into our office at night, and I have an Echo Dot there. And when we leave, before the cleaners come in, everything's dark in the office because we work in a basement. There's no lights. I will often have my Echo Dot turn on to haunted noises, haunted house sounds, and leave it up just loud enough you can hear it coming up the hallway. The cleaning people probably hate me.
Probably.
I just want to throw that out there.
Probably.
How about California? And the Whaley's family's new home in San Diego brought an unwelcome residence. The spirit of James Yankee Jim Robinson. Those who have visited since said the abode echoes with ghostly apparitions and his unmistakable footfalls. I don't know how that works, but okay. The one in Connecticut is really cool. If you've never looked, I would encourage you to Google this. Amidst Connecticut's Thames River, and by amidst, it means it's out in the middle of the river. The New London Ledge Light stands in solidarity. Automated now, formerly guards recounted spectral disturbances, unexplained noises, self-activating electronics, and mysteriously displaced blankets. Legends trace it back to Ernie, a lonely lightkeeper with a tragic end. And here's the thing about electronics. I've seen this in action. I've seen radios. I have saw. I have saw radio. No, it's I've seen. I've seen radios come on for no reason. I have visually witnessed radios that come on or have been turned on, but change the radio station. Not just a couple of numbers, but all the way from, say, a current or pop sound to a very old school country sound. Cynthiana. I've often told the story of my friend's grandma that we went to visit every Sunday for Sunday dinner because she liked to cook a big meal. We'd go and have lunch and enjoy their company. And when her husband passed, these things started happening. He had a very specific radio station he liked. If you changed the radio to a different channel, it would often change back to exactly what he liked.
Roughly what year would you guess? Just get close.
80s.
So, if I'm not mistaken, there were no digital radio stations.
No, this was analog. You had to turn the dial.
Yeah, you had to make a button and change it.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure that it wasn't a simple button got pushed.
No, this is when you'd have to use the rotary dial to change the. Yeah, and I've seen that. I mean, my good.
Did you leave immediately? I would hope.
No, because there was never a threat there. Let me open this door because Ramona wants to be part of the show.
I will say this. You were far more trusting of these spirits, let's call them, than I would have been. When they showed me that they had the ability to change the dial on the analog radio station, peace out, brother.
Well, here's the thing you have to realize, and I didn't realize that then, but I realize it now. All the research shows that even if that's possible, and I use the word if, that it requires a huge amount of energy from said spirit to do that, which is why poltergeists
don't show that. There's no way to measure the energy from spirits. So you're talking about what a bunch of people assume. I'm not sticking around to find out what they assume.
I'm just saying.
Peace out, brother.
Oh, mercy.
Call me, I'll be next door.
You are, and you wonder why you've never had an experience.
Because I've got no sense to leave when crap like that starts happening.
Oh, Ramona is in. Our stupid new cat is in. Ducky is here. I opened the door for the dogs, and everybody decides it's time to come in. I apologize.
They want to be a part of the show too.
I suppose. So how about we skip all the way to one of my favorite states in the Union, Georgia.
Georgia.
I love Georgia. Love being in Georgia. Love everything about Georgia. I love the
listeners.
We absolutely do. I love the diversity of Georgia. It's very Kentucky-like. Northern Georgia is mountainous. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You go down through Atlanta, it's much more flat, and you have coastal Georgia. You have swampy Georgia. I love Georgia. However, Georgia has scorpions. I'm a little concerned about the scorpions.
Kentucky has rattlesnakes. Which one are you more concerned about?
Scorpions.
Really? Okay.
Because they're little. And they can sneak.
While you tell your story, I'm going to Google and see how many people die from each one. So you go ahead.
That's fine. So in Atlanta's Rhodes Hall, now frequented for festivities, it masks a spectral secret. Visitors claim that the original owner's phantoms lurk in the creaky corridors and fiercely protect their domain. A solitary guide gave a chilling account of hearing demanding footsteps and a harrowing screams to "Get out!" Pretty convincing. So what about Island Paradise of Hawaii?
Oh, in paradise. I'm thinking maybe it's not so paradisey.
Well, it's not free of spirits, that's for sure. In Honolulu, the Ailani Palace, the former residence of the Hawaiian monarchy, is said to be haunted by the ghost of King Kalukaua. My mouth can't even put words to that. I'm sorry.
Get to it.
And his queen, and I'm not even trying Queen's name. Visitors have reported seeing apparitions of the royal couple, as well as hearing footsteps and smelling the scent of burning cigars. Probably my third favorite state in the whole union is Idaho. Love me some Idaho. I used to live there. It's one of the few states that if I had employment going in, I'd move back at the drop of a hat. Loved it. But it's also not safe from the spook. The old Idaho Penitentiary is no stranger to paranormal activity. Visitors often report hearing footsteps, feeling ghosts around them, and seeing shadowy figures around the jail. None of this is surprising, or considering figures like Jack the Ripper was here. Weird, right? I didn't even know we knew who Jack the Ripper was. Interesting.
I wasn't for sure. Either way.
Either way. So what is more haunted than a house that is literally called the Vasilla Axe Murder House? That sounds like a place you should stay, Jerry.
I would stay there.
In Iowa, the Vasilla House, now dubbed the Vasilla Axe Murder House, bears a ghastly legacy from 1912. An entire family met a gruesome end, and to this day, the assailant remains unknown. Today, visitors recount unsettling experiences. Doors open by themselves, sudden cold patches, and even physical assaults. Those are things that we have down here at the hotel, in
That
Anderson
house is
Hotel.
Such a normal next door house
Right?
in appearance.
Yeah. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, big time.
Now, I can't go traipsing about the United States without bringing up Kentucky's most haunted house. It is Liberty Hall on Wilkinson Street. The ghostly presence of Margareta Varick looms very large. Having met an inexplicable demise during her stay, visitors say she predominantly haunts the bedroom of her passing. Dubbed the Gray Lady, she is said to have witnessed standing silently in the dead of night. I don't know if you know what that means, but that means you'd wake up and she would just be sitting there looking at you. That sounds creepy as junk. No thank you. So one of the states on my bucket list that I want to go see, and this is going to be a motorcycle ride for me. Bless you.
Thank you.
One of my bucket list of things I want to do is take a ride on my motorcycle and go up the East Coast all the way up from New York, Pennsylvania, Maine, Delaware. I want to go all the way up through there because I just feel like that would be awesome. I want to go around New York City. I don't want to go through New York City on my motorcycle. That's just not safe. I'm not stupid. But to go around it and going up into Maine and Delaware and Connecticut, I think that'd be a beautiful thing, and it's just something I want to do. But I say that to say, in Maine, in Kennebunkport, Captain Lord Mansion, a historic marvel, houses more than just antiques. Some say Phoebe Walker, the late wife of its original owner, still roams the corridors. Guests have glimpsed her spectral form, gracefully moving along the mansion's spiral staircase, seemingly yearning for times gone by. Would you visit any of these places,
I would
Jerry?
visit every one of them.
Okay.
Now, unlike you, when the analog radio station begins to change, I'm going to decide it's time to leave, but I have no problem visiting any of these places.
You're funny. You're funny. So, one of the no, that's not true. I won't even say that. I had my cities backwards.
Okay.
Sorry. And I'll tell you what that meant in a little while. Let's see. How about one of my other... This is really cool. So, if you've ever been to Montana, out in the Great West... Oh, sorry, Duck. You're so small. I think I just squished you. Sorry. She weighs less than a pound. I don't know. She is full on little kitten. So anyway, I would encourage, if you don't have this on your bucket list, I would absolutely encourage you to put visit Montana at night on your bucket list. Just drive.
Montana at night.
Yes. There is a reason it's called Big Sky Country. And if you go anywhere on, I think it's Highway 80 through Montana, first there's no speed limit during the day. The speed limit at night is 80 miles an hour. Okay? Because there's nothing there. There is hardly any light pollution. And it is one of the few places in the lower United States that you can understand how small we are in the universe. Okay? Beautiful. However, all the way back in 1884, Butte, Montana's Copper King Mansion was built, and today it operates as a bed and breakfast. While the origins of the haunting remains murky, many guests recount eerie encounters from chilling presences in the game room to ghostly mist and other apparitions drifting through the corridors. Montana's gorgeous. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, just stunning, and all for different reasons.
Never been in that vicinity of the country. Would love to go.
You absolutely have to go, man. Seriously. Whew.
While you were talking, I was Googling some of the places.
Sure.
I ended up at hauntedplaces.org, one of the places I mentioned. By the way, if you're looking for a list of haunted places, hauntedplaces.org, state by state, gives a great list. I found one in Cynthiana, Kentucky that I don't recall you ever mentioning before.
Oh, really?
The Ross Opera House?
Ross Opera House, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really? This is number 2.
It's still operational today. Still operational today.
Number 2 in the city of Kentucky. I don't remember you ever telling me about it. Was it really haunted? Was it known to be haunted?
Absolutely. It's been known to be haunted ever since I've been around. And it actually went up, was completely remodeled 20 years ago, and then they recently remodeled it again. It's a movie theater / it actually has a stage. They have on-stage performances. Yeah. It's a really cool place.
Live performances in Cynthiana.
Absolutely.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Little small town. What's the population? 7,000?
Yeah, about that.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Neat. That's very neat.
It is a neat place. When you walk into that place, in the renovation stages that they've done, they have went out of their way to keep the original feel. Back when I was going, they still had velour. What is it? Is it the crushed velvet seats?
Really?
Absolutely.
I'll be darned.
It was cool. Cool place.
Some of the haunted activity reportedly includes an angry man, a lady in white, 2 children who run and play on stage. I had never heard of this place.
Yeah, I'll take you there next time we go. That'd be cool. How about one of the ugliest houses you will ever look at? You want to Google it?
Where is it?
Down in Texas, Austin, Texas, the Littlefield house was home to George Littlefield, who, stories say, would confine his wife Alice in the attic during his absences. Some locals say that her haunting screams reverberate through the mansion to this very day. It's hideous.
Yes, very much so.
Terrible, terrible looking house. How about the Ferry Plantation House in Virginia? It's a brick house in the neighborhood of Old Donation Farm in Virginia Beach, Virginia. The Ferry Plantation House is now a museum, and it's actually open to the public for tours. However, the house is also said to be haunted by a great number of ghosts, with visitors reporting a myriad of paranormal encounters. West Virginia got all kinds of stuff, man. They got bears in West Virginia. They have feral people in West Virginia.
Feral.
Yeah, I'm serious. That's a thing. People who have went off the grid and just stayed gone for so long.
Those around here. I think I can accurately add my youngest grandson to that list. Pretty sure.
So the majestic Berkeley Castle in Berkeley Springs echoes the footsteps of Rosa, a once flamboyant hostess with an, oh gosh, there's that word. Dang.
Enigmatic.
History. I hate that. I hate that word. Hate it. Anyway, today, guests revel in celebrations and they occasionally discern mysterious sound, ethereal footsteps, and innocent laughter, inexplicable crashes from the upper floors. Woo-wee. Ducky had to go.
Yep.
So we've made our way all the way to Wyoming, and we're going to finish with the Rollins Ferris Mansion. Although never inhabited by the original owner, George Ferris, due to a fatal mining accident, it did shelter his son Cecil. A tragic accident within the walls led to his demise. To this day, guests recount inexplicable encounters with the spirits of both father and son, emphasizing the mansion's haunted legacies. And folks, we all, just like we said before, everybody has one of these places in your hometown. Send us an email. Tell us about your place.
We'd love to hear it.
Send us a text. We'd love to hear about that as well because, you know, this is cool. And we've reached out and we made contact. We're going to have a guy on very soon that is an actual paranormal investigator. And I think that you and him are going to have a lot to talk about.
Okay.
Well, just because of your skepticism and the lack of... I've seen things, so I don't have that skepticism. So I think it's going to be a good economy and a good visit. What do you think?
I think it will be. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, back to the house that the devil built. More or less coverage on that?
Oh, absolutely less. It's all fake. There's nothing true about the legend at all. So, yeah.
I agree. Thumbs down. And hauntings in general, Jerry.
Probably more.
Yay!
Especially when I look at the hauntedplaces.org and your hometown. The
Loaded.
Ross Opera House has got one I'd never heard of.
Not only the Ross Opera House, we have a house in Cynthiana. Cynthiana was the spot of 3 different battles in the Civil War. We had a General John Hunt Morgan, who was a Confederate, that would often raid Cynthiana, which was a northern, and I'm using air quotes, city. It was right on the line. So, when you hear brother against brother, cousin against cousin, fighting blue and gray, north and south, they're talking about places like Cynthiana that was literally split. The
And in
families,
general, the state of Kentucky
Yeah.
is that way.
yeah, absolutely, and Cynthiana was right on that line. So 3 particular battles. All 3 was a result of General John Hunt Morgan raiding the city. He actually burned the city down twice, I believe. And then we named a bridge after him after all. But long story short, there was a house within the confines of downtown. It became downtown, but at the time it was kind of on the outside of downtown. There was a hospital for both north and south. If you were injured, you could go there and get cured or healed or treatment of some sort, whatever that may be in the Civil War times. But on certain nights, you can go there, they say, and still hear the wailing of soldiers, because Civil War medicine is not medicine today. If you got a shot in the ankle, you were probably losing your leg from the knee down, and they didn't numb you for that. They gave you a leather strap and some whiskey.
Well, the whiskey was the numbing.
Right. So,
Absolutely. Are we ready to discuss rattlesnakes and scorpions?
Yes, please.
Okay. You say that you're far more scared of scorpions, and I initially questioned whether or not that was valid and offered to do some research. It turns out that in the United States, the number of deaths from rattlesnake bites each year is estimated to be between 1 and 10, with the average being about 1 or 2 in Texas alone. Some sources estimate the number of deaths is closer to 5 or even 10 per year. That's rattlesnakes. Scorpion stings can be fatal, especially for children and the elderly. But deaths from scorpion stings are extremely rare in the United States. In fact, some say there has not been a single reported death from a scorpion in more than 50 years.
Okay, what's your point?
I think you just summed it all up.
Do you like being do you like being stung by a bee?
Yes, I agree. Scorpions are far more dangerous and more scary than rattlesnakes.
I'm just saying. They're creepy. They have 8 legs, and they have a big-ass stinger that they carry around and punch you with.
So whatever you do, stay away from Georgia.
Listen,
You might encounter a scorpion.
I'm just saying. There is research. A guy that is a what are those called that research snakes? I don't even know what that person is, but he actually made a boot on a stick, and he would go out in the woods and he would find snakes and step on them with the stick.
Okay.
You know what he found?
What?
Less than 20%, and we're talking thousands of times he did this.
Okay.
Less than 20% would actually turn and bite what was stepping on them. Most of the snakes just try to get the hell away. You know, they don't want to waste their venom. It's a lot like spiders. They don't want to waste their venom on something they can't eat.
And what percentage of these were rattlesnakes?
Very few.
They're known to be one of the more aggressive snakes.
Sure.
Many snakes are scared and attempt to flee. Rattlesnakes don't. They will attempt to hide. They use their rattle as a warning, but they are known to be very aggressive when you do.
So are copperheads, which are really big around here.
They are.
And they are
as fatal, or their venom's not nearly as poisonous.
right, but they're much more aggressive.
They're very aggressive.
Yeah. So, anywho, well, snakes, Jerry, newsworthy or no?
Snakes?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Scorpions? Not so much.
Right, I agree. What? No! Scorpions are creepy and they hide in your shoes.
You already said.
For my Georgia listeners, you know what I'm talking about. You know it's right. Right? Right.
The one that got bit 50 years ago?
Shh.
Sorry.
I don't need your logic tonight. What the hell? Whew, man. Don't need your logic at all tonight.
That was an interesting episode, but our journey isn't over yet. If you stay tuned, we have an exciting bonus story coming up after this commercial break.
Hi, this is Edlock with USA Mortgage. When it comes to buying a home, the process can be overwhelming and confusing. With so many options, it can be hard to know where to start. That's why it's important to work with a certified mortgage loan originator. I have the knowledge and expertise to guide you through the process and find the best mortgage option for you. I will work with you every step of the way to ensure that you are getting the best deal possible. So if you're looking to purchase or refinance, please reach out to me at 502-680-0953. So don't take on the stress of buying a home alone. Work with me and I will make your dream a reality. Trust the professionals and make your home buying experience a positive one. MLS ID 448908, DAS Acquisition Company, LLC, doing business as USA Mortgage, MLS ID 227262. This is not a commitment to lend. Additional terms and conditions apply. USA Mortgage is equal housing opportunity.
If you would like to share suggestions for future episodes, an intriguing ghost story, or simply tell us how much you love or hate us, please get in touch with us. You can reach us via email at newsworthywithstephencherry@gmail.com or send us a text at area code 540-709-1318.
And now, back to the story.
Well, Ramona just loves to bark during the episode, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Jerry, have you ever heard the statement, "How sad that my friends forgot me when I was guarding their gate"?
Sure.
That comes, let me tell you a little bit about where that comes from. And I can't believe I'm bringing this up because I am for all the popularity in the world that is soccer or European football, I'm not a fan at all. Even a little. I've watched exactly one soccer match in my whole life.
Okay.
And that was when I was dating this girl and she played soccer. And I went, you know what guys do.
Sure.
I went and I battled the heat and I watched it and I was like, nope, I'm done, I'm out. Anyway, in December of 1937, a football match during the Stamford Bridge in London between Chelsea FC and Charlton FC, the game was abandoned in the 60th minute due to an extremely heavy fog. Unfortunately, Charlton field goalkeeper Sam Bartram was unaware that the match had been stopped and continued to guard his goal for another 15 minutes. He did not hear the referee's whistle because of the noise from the crowd behind him. Believing that his teammates were attacking the oppositive goal, he stood, sightless, with his arms fully outstretched, focused on protecting his goal, come whatever, amidst the dense fog. It was only after 15 minutes when the field police approached him and informed him that the match had in fact been abandoned 15 minutes earlier. Sam, deeply saddened by this, famously said, "How sad that my friends forgot me when I was guarding their gate." Life is much like this. We diligently and supportively guard the goals of many around us, but the situation becomes foggy. A lot of people will abandon us. So guard your own gate.
And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.